Hello to one and all scattered far and farther. Strange days, strange times indeed. But why not, eh? Why shouldn't truth be stranger than fiction? Fiction, after all, is required to make sense. I come to you through the ether to offer you the balm of fun and frolic in these frustrating times. For the next 16 days, you shall be regaled with speeches, stories, and poems to delight the ear and gratify the eye. You know, the human race has really only one effective weapon: laughter. Today, you will recognize the author referenced for his wit, whimsy, while, and pre-proposing pair of eyebrows. But I turn to the expert on myself, Susy Clemens, my daughter, who at 13 penned what I consider to be the truest, most just, most kind description of me ever written down. Enjoy.
The Extraordinary Mark Twain, according to Susy.
By Barbara Kerley.
According to Susy, people were, well, just plain wrong about her papa. They thought they knew Mark Twain. After all, he was a world-famous author, quoted here, there, and everywhere. Thousands of people had read his books and attended his lectures. People probably thought they were Mark Twain experts.
But they were wrong.
And Susy was annoyed, greatly.
It troubles me to have so few people know Papa. I mean, really know him. They think of Mark Twain as a humorist, joking at everything.
Mark Twain was a humorist. Some folks called him the funniest man in America. But he was more, so much more.
I never saw a man with so much variety of feeling as Papa has.
And she was determined to set the record straight. Susy was 13. Papa called her the busiest bee in the household hive. But he didn't realize just how busy. Susy was secretly writing her own biography of Mark Twain.
We are a very happy family. We consist of Papa, Mama, Jean, Clara, and me. It is Papa I'm writing about, and I shall have no trouble in not knowing what to say about him, as he is a very striking character. Papa's appearance has been described many times, but very incorrectly. He has beautiful curly gray hair, not any too thick or any too long, just right. A Roman nose, which greatly improves the beauty of his features. Kind blue eyes and a small mustache. In short, he is an extraordinary fine-looking man. All his features are perfect, except that he has an extraordinary teeth.
To write a good biography, Susy knew she must capture her subject's personality.
His character quirks and the little things that made Papa, well, Papa.
She studied him day and wrote about him at night. Then she hid the biography under her pillow. Susy observed Papa carefully.
How he stopped whatever he was doing just to converse with the cat. How he paced the floor between courses of dinner, waving his napkin to punctuate a particular point. And how he let the housekeeper know when his shirts were missing buttons.
Susy noted Papa's habits.
His fine qualities, his not so fine qualities.
Into the biography and under the pillow, it all went.
He does tell perfectly delightful stories. He has a particular gait we like. It seems just to suit him. He always walks up and down the room while thinking. His favorite game is billiards, and when he is tired, he stays up all night and plays. It seems to rest his head. He has got a temper, but we all of us have in this family. He is, oh, so absent-minded. He smokes a great deal, almost incessantly. Papa uses very strong language.
One day, Mama found the biography and showed it to Papa. He examined the book with deep pleasure, delighting in Susy's frequently desperate spelling. He approved of how she didn't cover up one's deficiencies, but gave them an equal showing with one's handsomer qualities. But most of all, Papa was touched that Susy had started the biography secretly, and out of her own motion and out of love for him.
Papa said it was the finest compliment he had ever received. After that, Papa sometimes made pronouncements about himself at the breakfast table to help me along.
And if she needed to fill in the blanks, she just asked.
Papa said the other day,
I am a mugwump, and a mugwump is pure from the marrow out.
Papa knows I'm writing this biography of him, and he said this for it. He doesn't like to go at church at all, which I never understood until just now. He told me the other day that he couldn't bear to hear anyone talk about himself, but that he could listen to himself talk for hours without getting tired. Of course, he said this in joke, but I've no doubt it was founded on truth.
Like any good biographer, Susy chronicled Papa's early years.
Papa was born in Missouri, and we know Papa played hooky all the time, and how readily would Papa have pretended to be dying so as not to have to go to school. Grandma couldn't make Papa go to school, so she let him go into a printing office to learn the trade. He did so and gradually picked up enough in education to enable him to do about as well as those who are more studious in early life. He was about 20 years old when he went on the Mississippi as a pilot. Then he reported for a newspaper and was on several newspapers. And then he was sent to the Sandwich Islands. After that, he came back to America and his friends wanted him to lecture, so he lectured.
Susy recorded Papa's very public life and delved into his private life.
At the St. Nicholas Hotel, New York, Papa met Mama, Olivia Louise Langdon, and Papa and Mama were married. Papa wrote Mama a great many beautiful love letters when he was engaged to Mama, but Mama says I'm too young to see them yet. Mama says she thinks they're the loveliest love letters that ever were written. I was born and my chief occupation then was to cry, so I must have added greatly to Mama's care.
As a writer herself, Susy paid close attention to Papa's work routine.
I'd seen him write from just after breakfast until just before supper, skipping lunch entirely. On a good day, he filled 50 pages. If he had a sudden stroke of inspiration, neither cold nor dark nor 3 in the morning kept him from hurrying up to his office to scribble it down. Papa called it
sailing right on.
All too often, however, Papa got distracted.
He was a famous author, living in the most impressive house in Hartford, Connecticut. Friends, neighbors, and total strangers were eager to spend time with him.
Papa tried to let George, the butler, know when he wasn't interested in receiving visitors. But sometimes Papa had to suffer when, as he put it,
some mentally dead people brought their corpses with them for a long visit. And then there were stacks of irksome letters to answer.
Far too much of Papa's time was being used up by being famous.
And so, Papa liked to escape to Quarry Farm in New York, where Mama's sister lived. He called it the quietest of all quiet places, far away from peering eyes and pesky visitors.
The animals on the farm could not care less that Papa was a world-famous author, especially the donkey Kadichin, who only gave rides in exchange for treats. The farm is Aunt Susie's home and where we stay in the summer. It is situated on top of a high hill overlooking the valley of Elmira. In the winter, Papa sent away to Kansas for a little donkey for us to have at the farm. And when we got to the farm, we were delighted to find the donkey in good trim and ready to have us ride her. But she has proved to be very bulky, and we have to make her go by walking in front of her with a handful of crackers.
Life on the farm has been so busy, there was barely time to write.
Our various occupations are as follows. Papa rises about 7:30 in the morning, breakfast at 8, writes, plays tennis with Clara and me, tries to make the donkey go. In the morning does various things, and in the evening plays tennis with Clara and me and amuses Jean and the donkey. Claire and I do most everything from practicing to donkey riding and playing tag, while Jean's time is spent asking Mama what she can have to eat. There are 11 cats on the farm here now. It's very funny to see what Papa calls the cat procession. Old Minnie Cat, the mother of all cats, headed. Next to her came Aunt Susy, then Clara on the donkey, accompanied by a file of cats, then Papa and Jean, hand in hand, and a file of cats brought up the rear. Mama and I made up the audience.
Despite their busy schedules, Papa and Susy did find time to write. Susy carefully copied samples of Papa's work into the biography. Essays he wrote about the Civil War hero, Ulysses S. Grant.
And a little poem he composed in honor of the donkey, Kadichin.
Oh, you dear Kadichin, you are totally bewitching. Woo-hee! Our summer days, Kadichin, thou art dear from nose to britchin. Woo-hee! Anon lift up thy song, thy noble note prolong. Woo-hee! 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 Sweetest donkey man ever saw.
Papa wrote in a special octagonal study Aunt Susy had built for him. On hot days, he opened all the windows and then anchored his papers with brickbats so they wouldn't fly away. There he worked on books such as Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, which Papa called a rattling good novel about a runaway boy who helps a slave escape down the Mississippi River.
He wrote all day and read passages to the family at night. Papa then relied on Mama's good taste to clean up any questionable passages.
Papa read Huckleberry Finn to us in manuscript, and then he would leave parts of it with Mama to expurgate. I remember so well with what pains of regret. We used to see her turn down the leaves of the pages, which meant that some delightfully dreadful part must be scratched out.
Susy herself had definite opinions about Papa's work. She loved The Prince and the Pauper.
For his lovely, charming ideas and beautiful language.
Susy saw Papa's kind, sympathetic nature
As we promenaded up and down the library every evening discussing, as Papa put it,
affairs of state, or the deep questions of human life, or our small personal affairs.
he is known to the public as a humorist, but he has much more in him that is earnest than that is humorous. Papa can make exceedingly bright jokes, and he enjoys funny things, and when he is with people, he jokes and laughs a great deal, but when we're all alone at home, 9 times out of 10, he talks about some very earnest subject. He doesn't joke as much, tell many more funny stories than most men. He is much as a philosopher as anything, I think.
Susy wrote of things serious,
Since Papa was sometimes serious.
and she wrote of things silly.
Since Papa was sometimes silly. The other day we were all sitting when Papa told Clara and I that he would give us an arithmetic example.
If A buys a horse for $200 and B buys a mule for $140 and they join in a co-partnership and trade their creatures for a piece of land worth $480, how long will it take a man to borrow a silk umbrella? Like Papa, Susy wrote and wrote, filling over 130 pages. To conclude her biography, she relied on an eyewitness account to provide an anecdote that summed up Papa perfectly.
The other day, Mama went into the library and found Papa there sitting a book and roaring with laughter over it. She asked him what he was reading, and he answered that he hadn't stopped to look at the title of the book. She glanced over his shoulder at the cover and found it was one of his own books.
Susy has been a kindly biographer, to be sure. Yet, to a quite creditable degree, she was also loyal to the responsibilities of her position as historian, and gave me quite a prod now and then. Her observations were so clear and nicely shaded that 20 years later, when he published his autobiography, he included his favorite passages from Susy's notebook. And so, people finally got just what Susy thought they needed.
A portrait of the funny, serious, absent-minded, cat-loving, billiard-playing, philosophical Papa. The extraordinary Mark Twain.
According to Susy.
My friends, I leave you with a poem, for though I generally detest poetry, I have been known to try my hand at it. A poem, then, of my own making, with some well-intentioned advice. Be good. Be good, be always good, and now and then be clever. But don't you ever be too good, nor ever be too clever, for those who be too awful good, they awful lonely are, and those who often clever be get cut and stung and trodden on by persons of lower intelligence, by a rule of their kind which holds that persons of higher intellectual ability exhibit such only as an impertinence to their intellectual inferiority, supposed or real. And as it real, is it real? Yet it's best I not go on. The line is too long for really true poetry. Join us for the next 15 days as we delight and distract you and yours while we all stay safe at home.